All right, so on our agenda for today, we're going to discuss what is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And we're going to talk about connecting your phone to your car and making them work together. We're going to talk about the different applications you can use. And then I do have a demonstration video of Apple CarPlay and as well as Android Auto. And then we'll have some time for Q&A. But at any time, as Beth said, you can put that in the questions box and we'll read them. All right. So Apple CarPlay is when you can connect your iPhone to CarPlay in your car. You'll get turn-by-turn directions. You'll be able to make calls, send and receive text messages, listen to music, and more. So if your car supports CarPlay with a USB plug, that's the most typical one we're seeing. You'll just plug your iPhone right into its lightning cable and then plug the USB side into your car. The USB port might be labeled with the CarPlay icon or just a general smartphone mobile icon. And then from there, you'll be pretty much set up with that one. With Android Auto similarly allows you to control features like navigation, maps, calls and text messages, music, and a lot more. With Android Auto, there is going to be a little bit more setup. So, we'll go over that in the demonstration portion in a lot more depth, but you should make sure that your car or stereo is compatible with Android Auto and also that your phone is compatible. So if you have Android 9 or below, you're going to have to download the Android Auto app. And if you have Android 10 or higher, it's built in. So you don't need to download that app to get started. And then, once you do all the setup we'll talk about, you'll be able to, you won't need to do it every time. You'll just be able to connect it and go. So you may ask, what is the difference between the two? And this is kind of a picture of what they actually look like in your car. So honestly, and I've done quite a bit of research to try and figure out which, might be better for one thing, which might be better for the other. Besides Android Auto being for Android phones and Apple CarPlay being for iPhones, there isn't really too much difference at all. And navigating through the screens in your actual car or using your phone and accessing things like text messages and things like that. They are really two sides of the same phone to car integration technology coin. There are only a few applications that are exclusive to one or the other, and I'll be sure to point those out when we get to them. If you have used one of these services and you've all of a sudden gotten a new phone or something like that, I'm pretty confident that you can learn the other with little to no learning curve. They're just that similar. Both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are free. And although there may be some associated costs with specific apps, there's no cost to the actual car integration application. And they were also both created by their respective companies as a safer way to use your phone while you drive. However, and this is my disclaimer, distracted driving is still distracted driving, whether you're reading a text on your phone or looking at your car screen to mess around with Apple CarPlay. You should only use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay when it's safe to do so, really. So anything that requires you to take a hand away from the wheel or to look down, ideally would only be done when your vehicle is stopped or when you know that it is safe to do so. End of disclaimer. Sorry, I had to put that in there. So connecting. The overwhelming majority of CarPlay integrations, even in today's newer cars, are going to require you to connect your iPhone to your car with a lightning cable. And that is the one over here on the right, the white cable. This activates an icon on your car's display. And once you select it, the rest is pretty much as simple as your iPhone menu itself. The Bluetooth is used to stream audio, but the cable is necessary for navigation data, and it also provides power to your phone. So your phone's never going to die while you're navigating with it, or, you know, in the middle of a phone call or something like that. So wireless CarPlay has begun to appear in some models from BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz that have like a built-in Wi-Fi capability in their cars, which provides a greater data transfer rate. But I don't have a luxury car to show you all with, so I won't be going into that in too much detail, but just know that it is possible with those 3 makes. And you can also collect wirelessly with an aftermarket dongle if you're really against these cords here. So we're going to move over to this black cord, which is what you'll be using for your Android Auto connection. And this is just a regular USB cable, micro USB cable. So this one is what will connect your Android to your car to give you that Android Auto car integration. So whichever phone you need to use, you need to have the cord you're using to charge your phone in your car to make this happen, except for in those very rare circumstances. So for communicating, you can use voice commands through Siri or the Google Assistant for hands-free control. And you can use this hands-free control to initiate navigation, to search the web, take a phone call, respond to a text message, or start a playlist or music station. So you'll just say, "Hey Siri," or "Okay Google," to start that initiation. And then also on your wheel, you'll have, you know, what looks like a person talking button to start your Siri or start your Google that way as well. So as far as applications go, I kind of broke them down into 2 ones we'll talk a lot about, and 2 that you just should know are there for you to utilize as how you see fit. We're going to talk a lot about audio applications, as far as music, podcasts, audiobooks, and radio. And then we're also going to go over navigation. There are also other apps you can look into, and I'll show you how to find some of them. Such as NPR One, Apple News, or Sports News. And for productivity, your calendar apps, of course, your messaging apps, whether they be WhatsApp, your stock messages apps that come on your phone, and your phone call applications. So talking about listening to music specifically, you can choose to listen to Apple Music, which comes at a subscription, or YouTube Music. Again, that's going to be another subscription-based offer. And Amazon Music. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Amazon Music, so that's something good to note. Spotify is a great option that is available in your car on Android Auto or on Apple CarPlay, as well as Pandora. And then iHeartRadio is really great. I especially love iHeartRadio because, you know, when you're on a long drive and you're going through state lines, the radio always gets kind of wobbly, and then you have to find a whole new station to listen to. Not so with iHeartRadio. You can listen to your favorite music station from one end of the country to another. It's never going to change because you're streaming music from the radio station. You're not listening to the signal. And all of these are available on both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, as far as podcasts and audiobooks, there are a couple of great options. If you're a podcast fan, you can listen to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Overcast. And these all will have your most popular podcasts. Spotify also has some podcasts that you can check it into. And then for audiobooks, Audible is probably the biggest one, but you can also listen to your library audiobooks on Libby, and you can also check out audiobooks.com. Now, as far as navigating goes, there are kind of 3 major players, but there are a wide variety of navigation apps if you have specific maps you prefer to use. It's worth a shot to check and see if there's a either Android Auto or CarPlay integration that you can use. Apple Maps, of course, is going to be exclusive to your Apple devices. Google Maps and Waze are going to be on Android Auto as well as Apple CarPlay. Now, are there any questions before we move on to the demonstration sort of portion? Oops.
Not seeing any questions so far, but feel free to drop those in the Q&A if you have any, everyone.
Awesome. So I am going to pull up the video. Just 1 second. Hi everyone, and welcome to the demonstration of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We're going to start off with Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is really simple to set up. The CarPlay application and all the functions come stock on your iPhone. All you need is your lightning cable to connect. So you're going to connect to your phone, and you're going to connect to your car with the USB side of the lightning cable. There are some ways to wirelessly connect via dongle or on some newer models, but in general, all the power comes through your connection. So now we're just going to open up Apple CarPlay by clicking on that button there. And I'm going to take you all into the quick menu first. So we have our maps, our music, and some quick destinations. This is really great if you want an overview of what you're using at the time for audio and for navigation. Let's go on into the apps screen, and we can see all the apps, and we can scroll through those to see the other ones. You can reorganize these apps on your phone so that your most prevalently used ones appear on that first screen. You can also take off ones you don't want to use. And now we're back to the quick screen again. And again, this is your maps. This is your now playing. And you have some quick destinations, your most frequently used destinations. Up in the top, you have the time, your Wi-Fi and your service, and your recently used apps. Here are the icons for navigation, music, and phone. So let's go into the app screen again, and I'm going to click on phone. So here are your favorites that you will have set up in your phone on your iPhone. Your recents, your contacts, just a regular keypad, and your voicemail are all accessible through Apple CarPlay. So if you go back to favorites, you can press to call people you regularly do. Now we're going to go to music, and you can see the listen now, the browse button, the radio, and the library. And this is all powered through Apple Music. If you're an Apple Music user, you can see your playlists, artists.
and so on. And then if you go to Now Playing, you're going to see what is actively playing now. So we're going to go to Now Playing, and you can see it's the same screen that we just saw. Next up, we're going to take a look at podcasts. Again, this is Apple Podcasts, and you can do very similar to what you would do on your phone. Listen now, browse, and access your library. Overcast and Spotify are our two more options for podcasts and music, Apple Music as well, and Libby from the library is also great for listening to your audiobooks. Very seamless, works great on Apple Carplay, so you can listen to your audiobooks on those long drives. You'll have to download the item on your phone first, but once you do, you can access it freely on Libby for Apple CarPlay. Next up, I'm showing you the calendar. So if you're a person with lots of things to do throughout the day, you live by your calendar, you can see your itinerary for the day through that. Next up is settings. So these are your settings for Apple CarPlay. I keep Do Not Disturb while driving on, but it is up to you. I just think it's a safety thing. You can change the appearance. You can change your wallpaper. And a couple more settings down below. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the navigation. Maps is Apple's navigation system, and this works seamlessly with your iPhone, your Apple Watch, etc. You can look at various recent destinations. And you can also search either by voice or by typing in with the keyboard. And you can also see the nearby destinations that fit into these categories. So if I wanted to see the restaurants near me, I could see that there are several, and I can navigate to them. You're also going to see here what I have labeled as home and work, and I can always push to go home or push to go to work very easily, very simply through Apple Maps. Next up, I'm going to show you the other options for navigation, like Google Maps. So let's click into there. And similarly, you'll just want to add your destination, and you can search by various categories, access your home and work if you have that saved in Google Maps. And we're going to go back out, and I will also show you Waze, which is great for navigating. Waze has the added benefit of warning you of speed traps, construction, items that may be in the road, hazards, things of that nature. And similarly, you'll just punch in your address or punch in your destination name and follow the navigation on your screen. It's really simple. All right, so we'll back out of here. We're not going to talk about Zoom and Telegram very much today, but the next thing I do want to show you all is the Messages app. And this is another really powerful and safe way you can use some of the features on your phone while you're driving. So when you're stopped, of course, you can scroll through your messages and see who you want to respond to. But if you have Do Not Disturb on, you're not going to get any notifications on your phone or on your Apple CarPlay saying that you have a new message. You can voice command your Siri with Apple CarPlay to send messages for you and to read messages. So that is pretty much going to wrap up our time in Apple CarPlay. And I know you all are going to have questions, so please feel free to input those in the chat before we move on to Android Auto. And now we are moving on to Android Auto. So with Android Auto, there is going to be a little bit more initial setup. If you're running Android 9 or below, you're going to have to download the Android app on your phone. With Android 10, it is thankfully already built in, so you don't need to get the app to get started. If you do need to get the app, you're just going to want to head to your Google Play Store and search for Android Auto. It's that one with the blue A there. And you'll see a circle on the screen indicating where I'm clicking. So I'll click to install. And we'll be able to open it and see that the shortcut is added to our home screen. So we'll go ahead and open. And welcome to Android Auto. So we can click Get Started and Continue. We're going to allow Android Auto access to make phone calls, allow access to our contacts, allow access to location, allow to send and view messages, allow to record audio, and allow to access your calendar. And we're going to hit Continue again. So now we're going to edit the notifications access. So where it says Android Auto, we just want to toggle that over so that it's on. And then it's going to show us this message, letting us know what Android Auto is doing. We'll click Allow. And then we want to make sure our location services are turned on. We'll toggle that on. And we see it's highlighted in our quick menu. Okay, so back to the Android Auto. We'll click OK. And then we're going to want to turn on auto launch. So we are going to want to automatically connect Bluetooth to our car that we're most regularly using, or if we have two cars, we can do that as well. If you haven't already set up your voice recognition, we're going to do that in just a moment. So now the app is pretty much set up, ready to go, but we're going to take a step into settings. So we'll click OK Google Detection. So if you haven't set up your voice recognition yet, you might have to click Train Voice Model down at the bottom, or Retrain Voice Model if you're using a phone that hasn't always been yours, something along those lines. When we toggle this on, you can say OK Google at any time in your car to talk to your voice assistant. So to send text messages, to Google things, to turn on certain music, and you'll just have to say OK Google 3 times. And if your voice ever changes, you can always retrain that voice model. Going down, you can change your auto reply message for when you're driving. Another great safety feature. And we're again going to go into that auto launch and make sure that you're automatically connecting to your car, as well as pocket detection, which is a nice little feature. Bluetooth, we want to toggle on, as well as the Google Analytics down at the bottom. You can toggle that on or off depending on your preference. So I'm exiting out of this and I'm going back to the main screen. I'm going to click on that menu again and go to Apps for Android Auto. Here is where we're going to see in the Google Play Store all the applications that work with Android Auto. You'll see your music apps, your news apps, your message and chat apps, audiobooks, things of that nature. So there are a lot of apps that you can download If you have accounts with anyone specifically, Pandora, Amazon Music, Google Play Music, and so on, you can download those so you still have access to all your music libraries. If you want to install, you'll just go ahead and install. Now we can exit out of this app. So now we're all set up to use our Android Auto with our car. Again, we'll want to connect that with a USB cord. So this end of the USB will plug into your car, and the other end will plug into your phone. And I purposefully did not do the setup in the app that we just showed so that you would see what it looks like if you haven't done the necessary steps to set up Android Auto. You're going to see that error message right there, and it's going to prompt you to set up Android Auto on your phone. Once you do that, you'll be able to connect, and you won't have to do that setup every time. It's a one-time thing. When we're all done, we are going to see that A for Android Auto pop on up, and then we can access Android Auto from there. It's taken a little bit of time to load. This is the first time I've used Android Auto. I use Apple Carplay on a regular basis, but they're pretty similar. So you see you have your app screen, you have your navigation, comes stock with Google Maps, but you can use whatever you prefer, Waze or Google Maps or another one, as long as it's on that apps for Android Auto that we were looking at earlier. Same deal, you can search for your destinations. You can search with the keyboard, or you can search by pressing the microphone and use your voice commands. So once you have the directions to the place that you're looking to go, similarly to Apple CarPlay, again, you're just going to press go or access directions, however you get there, and you will be taken back into the map screen and your navigation will commence. All right, so instead of that grid menu, we have this little circle in the lower right-hand corner. And your frequently used apps are along the bottom here. Let's take a look at the phone application. So again, you have your recents, if you had any recents, your contacts, dialing a number, and access to your voicemails. Very similar. You can also see your itinerary for the day. If you use your calendar, all of the things in there will be listed. You could also look into downloading Waze for navigation, Amazon Music or Pandora for audio, or even Libby or Overdrive for audiobooks. Here you're going to find your notifications for your apps. And over to the right, that little microphone, you can do a voice search for information from the Google Assistant. So I asked, what time does McDonald's stop serving breakfast? And it responded to me verbally saying McDonald's usually stops serving breakfast at 11. So which is really useful when you're on the go and you just need a quick fact check. Going into your settings, this allows you to really customize when you're being notified by Android Auto. You can also change whether you automatically resume media. So that means when you get into the car, it'll start playing the song right where you left off, or it'll start playing your audiobook right where you left off. And that is really going to do it for our demonstration portion. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the questions panel and we'll get into answering them right now.
I'll jump back into our slides here. All right. Well, that is pretty much all I have for today. One final thing to take away, I guess, if you have a really specific questions about your car or an app that you really love to use that I haven't mentioned here, I would recommend heading over to YouTube and searching for your car's make and potentially model and whatever service or app you're looking to use. And you'll probably be able to find like a very, very detailed tutorial that'll help you better than I ever could. But of course, you all can feel free to email me. My email address is up on the screen. And I hope that some of you all will join us next week for Cutting the Cord. Thanks so much for coming. I'll hang out for a couple of minutes in case anyone has any final questions. But thank you all so much for coming and have a wonderful week.
Yep, thanks everybody. We hope to see you next time.